Okay, so let's begin with the end of year 3 reporting certification. As always, the first couple slides kind of introduce the training and our training model. So this is the CALPADS training sequence. From left to right is the order, or at least a visual representation of the order of courses that you should take. If you are submitting end of year data, you should have taken the orientation set of trainings or be familiar with CALPADS, right? The basic set of trainings, or be familiar with using CALPADS, CALPADS navigation, uploading files, so on and so forth. Then data population, right? You should be familiar with the data elements, the transaction types of the different files, some of the reporting nuances. That's the kind of information in data. And then now you see highlighted is end of year reporting certification. We're basically going to talk about, summarize the data collection. We don't go into depth about how to populate the data, but we're going to tell you there's important elements, the reports, the certification process, the steps to certifying, highlight some key errors. The reporting certification will summarize end of year 3. And so the end of year 3 is quite an extensive data collection, but it in concert with 1, 2, and 4. And so we have trainings for all of those. 2 has an asterisk because it hasn't changed for several years, and we don't present it as a live training anymore. But there is always recorded versions of 2 reporting certification on YouTube as well as in Bridge. And then to the right is skill building. And we found a need because CALPADS has been inconsistent, the timelines have changed. Our management has directed us to try to identify and develop training to promote and teach skills that will help you all be resilient and adapt to change, right? We know some things are out of our control, we're in disadvantaged situations sometimes. And so hopefully we all have the skills to overcome these challenges. As much as we want CALPADS to be smooth, processed in a timely manner, that's outside of our control. And so while we are required to report, we've been developing skill trainings. Now, right now we're in the process of, we haven't started development, but we're gathering requirements for that. We're trying to make sure that we understand what is needed for those skills. So that should be coming over the next year. And then the target audience for today's training, this training is directed for the data coordinators, those who are inputting data into CALPADS. Primarily the SIS data coordinator, the SEDS data coordinator is attending training. Then finally going back to analyze certification reports and assess the flow of data across the ecosystem. That's, the woven web of different systems used to collect and report data. Evaluate the data, how well the data is, and then leverage, right? The ultimate thing that we want to get across that goes missed here in all the data reporting that we do is, even if you submit accurate data, everything's consistent for accountability, how much of the data is actually used in decision making, right? And so we want to get to the point where CALPADS and all the other data reporting that you may do is an afterthought, that the data is actually being collected and used to make decisions to best serve the students. All right, let's look at the agenda, organize in the structure of the training. We always start with the overview for reporting certification. And we go into the data submission just to remind everyone what data is being collected. Then meat of today's training, again, is a review of the certification process and the reports being the product of all our hard work. And then we try to bring up the key facts at the end of this long training so that it's fresh in your mind.